Hi, everyone. This is a story that happened in Egypt 4,500 years ago. The main character of the story is Ramesses II, who was called the Great, and there's a reason why he was called that. This guy had everything. He ruled over the richest and most powerful country in the world for 66 years. He built so many projects and monuments in his honor that even today, thousands of years later, we can see them and are amazed by them. He left behind a legacy that has lasted for millennia, but this man had one big problem. In those days, being a great leader wasn't enough. You also had to be really, really smart. There were no advisors or assistants back then. If you made a mistake, it would be known throughout history. Everyone judged you by your actions. And if you died at war, you weren't considered a good leader. Ramesses II wanted to make his people proud. He wanted to be remembered as a great warrior and a great king. And he did achieve many victories against the Hittites, the Nubians, and the Assyrians. But in all those wars, he didn't manage to get the upper hand. They were always indecisive battles where both sides claimed victory, and that kind of frustrated him. He spent so much time and energy on wars that he became obsessed with the idea of defeating at least one nation and having a real, true victory. He thought about it day and night. He couldn't focus on building new projects because he was too busy planning his next battle. He tried to defeat the Hittites again, but failed. And right after that, his wife and his son died, and he blamed himself for that. The thing that upset him the most was the fact that he hadn't defeated the Hittites yet, so he decided that he needed a change. He asked the priests to prepare a ritual bath for him and shaved all his facial hair before immersing himself in hot water. When the soothing water touched his skin, he thought, "This is it. Now I feel like a new man," but then suddenly the floor started shaking. At first, it was just a mild rumble, but then it grew into a tremendous roar. The water splashed everywhere as large rocks cracked and collapsed. Ramesses II stood up and looked out the window. All he could see was smoke billowing into the air. Then an earthquake shook the entire city. People screamed as their houses crumbled down around them. Panicked citizens ran through the streets not knowing what to do. But soon the tremors stopped and the smoke cleared away. Ramesses II immediately called his guards and told them to find out what had happened. And when they returned with the news, his face turned pale. The earthquake had opened up a huge chasm in the ground, one that was spewing fire and smoke. It kept shaking the earth and terrifying the people. No one had ever seen anything like it before. The king had to do something. His people were scared and angry. They blamed him for the disaster and demanded he fix it. But how could he calm them down? How could he stop the earthquake? And most importantly, how could he fix it without spending too much money? Because fixing such a disaster wouldn't be cheap, and he already spent a fortune on wars. He had to come up with a solution quickly. So he went to the temple of Ptah, the god of craftsmanship, and asked for help, but the god didn't answer him. So Ramesses II prayed and begged until he promised to build a beautiful temple if the god would help him. And finally, Ptah agreed. Ramesses II went back home and gathered his architects and engineers. He told them about the disaster and asked for a plan to fix it. They discussed the issue for weeks, drawing blueprints and making calculations. Finally, they came up with an idea. They would take the huge amount of dirt and rocks from the bottom of the river, place them on top of the earthquake, and create a hill. It wouldn't be easy because they had to move thousands and thousands of rocks and stones, but it would work. Ramesses II liked the idea and approved it immediately. The construction began the next day. Thousands of workers, engineers, soldiers, and volunteers moved rocks and dirt from the riverbed to the surface. Elephants and chariots were used to transport the material, and priests kept the workers motivated and inspired. It took them 2 years to finish the job, but eventually they managed to cover the earthquake with a hill. The river flowed normally again, and people were happy. The king had fulfilled his promise, and they respected him once more. When the disaster struck, Ramses II was desperate. He didn't know how to fix it. He was considering digging a moat around the city, building high walls, or enlisting the help of neighboring kingdoms. But none of these solutions seemed good enough. In the end, he found a way to fix the damage and save his reputation. He learned that sometimes the greatest challenges can be overcome with the simplest solutions. And he also learned humility because when the disaster struck, he felt like he was being punished for his pride and arrogance. The story of Ramesses II reminds us that we should always remain humble because even the greatest kings can be brought to their knees by natural disasters. It also teaches us that we shouldn't spend too much time worrying about the past because it's gone forever. We should focus on solving the problems of the present because they're the only ones that matter. Finally, the story of Ramesses II shows us that we shouldn't be afraid to ask for help. No matter how powerful and wealthy we are, there will always be times when we need assistance. And that's okay. The important thing is to never give up and to always keep trying to improve our lives. So my friends, let's learn from the example of Ramesses II and be humble, focused, and helpful. Now it's time for you to tell me what you think. What's the most valuable lesson you learned from this story? Please leave your answer in the comments below. I would love to read what you have to say. Also, please subscribe if you haven't done that yet. By doing that, you will receive notifications whenever I post new videos. And I would really appreciate it if you gave this video a like. It only takes a split second and helps the algorithm. Thank you for watching this video and for sticking with me until the end. I wish you a wonderful day and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.